Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. This one's going to be a bit of a long one because we are doing all of the updates for HRCYED. So that's 1, 2, and 3, starting 3. So let's just jump straight in. Again, apologies for being away for a while, but I'm hoping to be fully back here shortly. All right, so let's start with 1. I wanted to be done with this one by I think I had planned on being done basically by the 7th of July. Did not complete that. But I'm going to close. I'm almost at 80%. So this is where we are right now. I've got about half of the squares completely finished and several of them really, really close. So I'm hoping to complete at least 1 or 2 of these this month and still complete this before the end of the year. But I obviously did not complete it in time to do 3.0 all by itself. So we are still doing both of them simultaneously. Instead of 2.0 and 1.0, no, it's 3.0 and 1.0 simultaneously. All right, so here's where we are on the alphabet challenge. I have A, I, Q, Y, and Z still to complete. And you can see all the purple outlined ones are ones that I've completed since we last did an update, which has been a bit. Most everything came across with a 3-star. I think the only one on this page that got above that was Just Stab Me Now by Jill Barrett, which I thought was so much fun. Essentially, it's based on the shorts that the creator had created on YouTube, and everyone said, hey, make that into a book. And so she did. So it was basically the same exact story, but there's a lot more backstory and side things happening, and you get more lore. And we all know how I feel about lore. Give, please. I love. So I had a lot of fun with it. She doesn't take herself too seriously, which I very much enjoyed. Everything else was a 3.0. All right, so I didn't get anything else additionally completed on the blurbs and books. I still have 2 to go to get this page finished. Finished Brightly Burning, which I very much enjoyed. It was almost a 4, but I felt like there were a few things that I would have liked more on a little bit. But it is YA, so I understand why we didn't get quite as deeply into some of the mechanisms that I would have liked a little bit more in. Some of the emotional things I think it would have been interesting to go into. And the sort of the story is a retelling of a classic book. I won't tell you which one because it took me far too long to figure out that this was a retelling, and I was a little embarrassed actually. I was like, wait, this feels like this other book is this? And I'd look it up and I was like, yep, okay, cool. So now I know what's happening. So I don't want to give that information to you from the get-go. You can look it up if you want to, but that does affect the storyline pretty well because it's almost the exact same story until about halfway through, and then some things change a little bit, but now it's a space version, which was a lot of fun, and it's YA, which I don't think the other one wasn't YA because the people were about the same ages, but it just had a little bit more, I felt like, adult discussion in it. I mean, it's still a very old book, so it doesn't have anything like spicy or anything in it, but I can't talk more about it. But anyway, I am hoping to finish at least 2 of these books in the next month, just based on like where we are on getting them from the library. So we're getting closer to this one being completed. All right, so the 4+ book series, I already finished 4 of them. I actually have finished Tragic Bonds in July, so I finished 5 of them. There is still Broken Ties, and there's actually one more after that that is, for some reason I didn't include, that I need to go back in and fix that one. So I believe that's Unbroken Bonds, maybe, or something along those lines. So I'll put that one on there. There'll be 7. I did change up the series I put here. I'm very much enjoying this one. I ended up going back and changing this first book to a 4-star since originally popping this on as complete, so I will have to go back and fix that one. But I'm enjoying the complexity of some of these characters. and that it just doesn't automatically fix even once they um, start working themselves into more relationships and things like that. The characters are still working on their own mental health issues and figuring out the relationship dynamics amongst themselves, while all of the drama that is happening in their world with the larger picture, the larger war that more or less that's going on. So I am enjoying the complicated messiness of this group of people. I didn't finish anything else over here, though Shield of Sparrows I am in the middle of, so hopefully we'll be able to knock another one of those off in July. Other countries is now officially completed. Next time it will just be a check mark. I have not completed anything else here, not because I didn't want to, but I didn't actually get access to several of these from the library yet, or else I just didn't have time, so it ended up getting put on, basically on hold for another time. But I do have them all on hold that I will get to them sometime, hopefully soonish. Looking forward to several of these. All right, so lowest rated books. I finished 2 of these. Stop Micromanaging was super, super short. I don't know if I would even really consider it necessarily it's not a novel because it's nonfiction, but it was very short. I think I finished it in like less than an hour. So keep that in mind. But most of these books were added a rather long time ago. But at the time of pulling them, these were the lowest on my TBR. So these ones really can't change. They have to be just when they get there, they get there. I've yet to purchase anything direct or gone to a local bookstore. I almost went to a local bookstore, and I may go to one next month, local-ish. And so hopefully I'll find something there. All I'm missing still is the eye for this one. But if you can see, I finished up quite a few on here. I got River's Run, Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, Ready Player One, and Explosive 18. 4 stars is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline and Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinneman. I am working my way through that series. I am very much enjoying, as you can see, 4 stars. Okay, Spiffo non-finalists. I am nearly done with this one. I have Wolves Running checked out, but it is an ebook, so it will take a little bit longer, and I need to have the time to just sit down and just like read rather than audiobooking. But most of these were that way, so it's taken me a little bit longer because there's no audiobooking on ones that I can only get on ebook. But I enjoyed most of them. I wouldn't say I enjoyed anything to the level of a 4-star on this, which is, for me, 3-star is good, but I probably won't read it another time. I enjoyed it. 4 is yes, and I probably am telling everyone in the world I know about this book. But it's not to the point where like it's life-changing, which is like that 5. So, the Walk into Midlife Magic series, though, I am so much enjoying this series. I'm loving the fact that the chosen one is not a teenager or young adult. She is fully into her career woman era. She is 40 and she is divorced, and life is happening around her, and she's working being the chosen one around her life, which is what probably all of us would need to do. We couldn't just drop everything and go on a magical quest, and we also probably wouldn't believe in magic just because elves showed up, and told us, hey, by the way, you're the chosen one. Be like, am I going crazy? Maybe. Am I going to play along with it? Why not? Let's see how it goes. And then have a little freak out, right? But anyway, I am enjoying Susan. I think she's a great character. It is very, very slow burn, so there is a romance sort of plot in there, subplot, but the main part is the magic side. But I'm not done with the series yet, so I've gotten to the point where we've got some romance stuff going on, and we will see how it goes from there. I think it's like book 3 of 4, so I'm about to start book 4, which is the last one if I remember correctly. If not, then I will probably finish this series in August, but I do want to try to finish this in July if I can, just because I am flying through these books and enjoying them quite a bit. All right, Muted. I read the entirety of it. I only put the volume one picture up here, but I did read it on Webtoon, and there were 3 volumes, if I recall, if you were to purchase it in print. So I went ahead and checked those ones off, and I wanted a picture, so I put this one up there. And I enjoyed it. It's got a lot of found family, magic, trauma, relationship. The main character's relationship, there is a romance sort of subplot, and a lot of the relationships that happen are instrumental into some of the other things that happen. So it's not like it just doesn't matter. So it definitely does. But she has partners, and she is I don't think she ever says how she identifies, but her partners are both female. So it is a fun one. I don't think it actually has a lot of spicy content at all, if I remember right. I think it was pretty low spice, but it had a lot of nice relationship building, feel good content, which I very much enjoyed. All right. So we get to new releases. I only have one left. I did the Au Pair Affair for July 2024. So I still have September 2024. And I'm thinking I'm going to do Phantasma, but I haven't yet gotten that book. I don't think it's available at my library. So I'm going to have to find either a purchase or a borrow or something if that's the one I end up choosing. So if you have other options that you thought were fantastic for September 24, please let me know. Still have not done Queen of the Damned, but I need to. All of these ones are done. Genre Challenge is actually done, even though it says it's not yet, because in July I did finish Slaughterhouse 5, so literary is checked off, but that'll be checked off technically in the July update for this one. So far, I did another Lola Glass romance, which was Love Bites. I actually did this entire series, so you'll see it pop up in other places, other parts of that series. Dungeon Crawler Carl for a crowdfunded book. I did not find one that I could put money towards, but I may crowdfund something when this is all done. Okay, so nothing new here on Rainbow. All of these ones are already done. And that is it for 1.0. 2.0 will be very quickly because it's over. I finished it, all good, but just wanted to say, hey, these are the few that we missed out on since the last time. We will speed run through this so we can get to 3.0 and chat about what the plan is for that. So, as you can see, we're done 100%. Since I stopped sort of recording in like March, you never got the update for February, so you can see all of the ones we did here. The May one is not the book, that is the graphic novel. So that one is popped in there. So just so you're like, wait, what do you mean? I thought we already talked about that other. Yeah, we did. This one is for the graphic novel. And the June Cold Iron, I am very much thinking about switching that to a 4. It's just living up in my brain. And so if something is living up there, I usually end up going back and adjusting it, which means I probably did not properly allocate stars the first time. So I'm probably going to change that one to a 4. I very much enjoyed it. It's not something plot-wise that is unheard of. I just like the fact that the characters are more complicated and they aren't going to just completely switch up and get past all of their issues in book 1 just because she shows up. That's not what's going to happen. And everybody's got their issues, not just them, not just her, just like the other series I talked about not that long ago. Apparently, I like issues. I like complicated characters, is how I would prefer to say that. Complicated characters make books better, or at least they make them more realistic. And you understand what's going on, you're connecting better to the characters, and they give you automatic sort of openings to change what's happening rather than just, okay, well, the next part of the thing has to be this because this is the journey that we're on. No, you can have an entire subplot or a side quest, as you were, about a character needing to get through or get past something, or you've got two people who are arguing, um, and it doesn't have anything to do with the main plot, but you've got stuff going on that is interesting and complicated, and um, stuff happening in the background that just makes things makes them, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's so much better. It makes it much more realistic. They are people instead of just sketches. They are more full-fledged people. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so I'm gonna read the next one. It just came out this month, and I've already checked it out. I'm just looking forward to sitting down and reading it. I haven't had time yet, sadly. Okay, for secret prompts, I did do all the secret prompts with the exception of March because I only read 2 books in March. Was it 3? It was either 2 or 3 books, and because I just was not able to get through much. There was a lot going on at the time. Um, So while I do regularly just read books that are on my feed, I did not in the month of March, between the 7th of March and the end of March. Therefore, I did not complete the March one. But I've read multiple ones that could have fit into that one if I had allowed myself to go back and fill it. I just did not because that seemed a little bit like cheating. So I didn't finish March. The other ones I did. I'm continuing to work my way through the Weary Dragon Inn series, which is cozy fantasy and mystery. I'm very much enjoying those ones. They're pretty short. The audiobooks are usually under 6 hours, and having a lot of fun with those. All right, so that is everything on 2.0. Now we get into 3.0. 3.0, I'm going to handle this one a little bit different than I did 1.0 and 2.0. 1.0 and 2.0, I very much went in with a plan of action, and this is where I was going to do it. I'll change things up if I need to, but I have every single prompt filled out and I can adjust as I go. I'm not really going to do that on 3.0 for a couple reasons. One, because it was a whole lot of time to get through just the little bit I did already plan on here. And two, I found that I was finding things just like I do for all of my other challenges that fit into the different challenges better, or at least sooner, when I was just going through stuff. And just regularly picking a book. Oh, this fits here, and I can put it in. But then I already had other books on my TBR that fit into other parts of my challenges that I purposefully put together, and it just made things more complicated than it needed to be. So there will be sections in here that I will definitely have to sit down and go through, whether that be alone or with you guys or on a live or whatever on here, and I'll point those ones out. But there will be some that I have no intention of planning until we get to the end if I just haven't finished them naturally. So some of them will be planned well in advance. Some of them will be uh, partially planned or planned based on things I already have on my TBR. And then other things I'm just being like not touching, not going there. At least not until like the 6-month mark, and when I start to have to look and see, okay, what do I actually need to sit down and hunker down and actually do and figure out. But here we go. 3.0. Obviously, this is July the 19th. I've already completed some of them, but the update for June is that I had planned. So there are a couple on here I may point out that I've already finished, but those will be on the July update. So choose your party. This party is very much based on my current D&D party. I am the druid in my current D&D party, so I have a druid. And then we have a bard, a rogue, and a warlock in our party. And it is a fairly small group of us who are playing. There's only 5 of us. So technically that is it. So I asked the DM to pick the final one, and he chose fighter. So these are, we'll see. 2 of them obviously are Matt Dinneman's Dungeon Crawler Carl series, because I am already working my way through that series, so it makes sense that I would get to them. Warlock Holmes, I actually had to look up books that have warlocks in them because that's not something that I regularly come across. I probably could have done a Dresden File book now that I'm thinking about it, because I am working my way through those. Is he a warlock yet? Anyway, I probably could have done one of the Dresden File books, and I might switch that out. But this book looked really cute, and I'm hoping that it'll be fantabulous. I love mysteries, especially if they have some magic to them. I'm enjoying getting into that, whether it be cozy mystery that have fantasy in them, or things like the Dresden Files where there is a mystery, but there's also magic. I think I've read 3 or 4 different series in the last 12 months. that have that sort of concept behind them. Some of them are, there's a tea shop related one that was magical. There was Dresden Files. There's a couple of other like urban fantasy ones that happen to have mysteries also baked in. But yeah, I'm enjoying that sort of subgenre. So hopefully this is what I enjoy. Six of Crows fit, just so I happened to do a quick search what popular books include a rogue character, and then I looked to see if any of those books were things that were already on my TBR. Found Six of Crows. So if I read it and I find out, I don't think that that really fits, and I'll update it, but hopefully that will work. And then Hounded, I don't think I've ever read a book with someone who is identified as a druid specifically. So I went ahead and looked one up for that one. Hounded by Kevin Hearn. We will see. I've not read any of their books before, but I'm looking forward to all of these. Now, this is one that I sat down and actually did fully plan it. I may make some changes, like I said, with like the Warlock, I could potentially sub that out. Rogue and Druid, if I read something else, I may sub them. But since Six of Crows is already on my list to read, unless it is something, like unless I don't agree that there's a rogue character, then I probably will leave that one alone. But that's where we're at on that. Periodic table. I did not fully do on this one, as you can see. I just pulled things that were already on my TBR. Full Silver, which is the second book in the series that I mentioned earlier that was just like living in my brain. So this one I'll be reading soon. Kingdom of Copper is on my 26 and 2026. So I already had that one planned. And then Iron Widow is on my list for the last 2 years. I have not gotten around to it. So hopefully I'll be able to read it this year and it will fit really well. So I still need 2 more. I haven't found anything that just popped out on my TBR already, so hopefully something will come up. Or I'll see things that are suggested, or you guys will tell me in the comments some ones that are fantastic, and I can pop those in for planning. Familial terms, also one I didn't really do a whole lot on. I just looked through my TBR, which is rather extensive to be fair, and looked for any familiar terms I could find. Sister wife, which I was on the fence at whether I wanted to read that one or not, but it is one that is the potential for me to want to read, so I did put that on there for sister. And Children of Blood and Bone is on my list for a challenge. I think it's something along the lines of like books are not political, but with the irony being that they definitely are. And that one's on there. So that's the first, and I believe in the series, and their whole series is on that list amongst other books. So it's like, okay, that sounds like a good plan. The other ones, though, don't have anything currently on my like going to be reading in the already planning in the next few months list that have familiar terms in them. So unless something comes up or I pick up one on the spur of the moment or someone suggests one, I don't really have anything for this. So let me know if you have ones. Regional traipsing. I'm not planning this one because this is going to happen naturally for me. I am currently working my way through a very similar sort of challenge that has 62 different ones. There are 11 countries, DC, and all 50 states that's on this list. So I'm definitely going to hit this one up, even though I'm probably about 80% done with that. There are enough states that I'd be able to pull 5 that were not New York and California easily. So I'm not going to touch this one. That's going to be whatever just happens to be able to come up naturally. Unless I finish them all and I've used them elsewhere, in which case I may have to go look for something. Choose your curriculum. This one I did actually do some work on. Sticks and Stones. Sticks and Stone I already read. I'm using that for PE. It's a hockey romance. And Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I did finish that one in July as well. So that one is also locked in. I did that one for English because she's writing a book, specifically an encyclopedia. And I was like, that fits really well, I think, for English. But if you disagree, let me know. And then everything else came from either my current TBR or from book club picks that I just didn't get to. Because my plan for this year, it was a long time ago at this point, we've talked about them, but I had decided that most of my book clubs were going to sort of create a pool of potential books for me to read, but I wasn't going to try to make myself read all of them because I was in the middle of a lot of different book clubs purely because I was interested to find out what other people were reading in those topics or in those groups, those subcategories. Oh, what are you reading in fantasy? What are you reading in sci-fi? But I couldn't read 15 books every month plus everything else I had to do. The 15, these are the books. So those were sort of thrown into a, this is a good idea. Read these if you have any time during this month. So that's where Blind Attraction came from, and everything is tuberculosis. Those are both on book club ones from before. So science for everything tuberculosis because it's about tuberculosis, and history and science. I could have used probably either history or science for that, but I already had a history option. And then Blind Attraction because one of the main characters is a musician, and that one was on a romance book club. I don't really know anything about it other than it's about like a rock star and a girl who has absolutely no experience with the real world because she was basically in a cult until recently. Not sure. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm going to be reading it, and I don't have anything else to say until I finish it, so I'll let you know. And then I don't remember who. I think it was maybe Monty who put this one on a list, or somebody. There was a list somewhere that someone had put out there, and Separation of Church and Hate, talking about fascism, fascists and fundamentalism, and things on those lines. So I'm gonna read that one. Road trip. Wait a second. Did I do the wrong one? Regional traipsing. I gave you the wrong one. Regional traipsing is not the one I was talking about for. That was road trip that I'm gonna have no issues on. Regional traipsing. I'm gonna actually have to sit down on this one. I apologize. My brain diverted. Regional traipsing. I'm gonna have to actually sit down and figure this one out, as well as the biomes one. Both of those are gonna take me some time to sort of wrap my head around, and I'm gonna want to sit down and spend time with them. And I haven't had enough time to do so in the last month. Because I've got a lot going on and I'm trying to get caught up on everything else. So I'm leaving a couple of these prompts to, okay, we'll have fun with them in like August or September where I sit down and like dig deep. And this is one of them. All right, bookception. We will see if I can make this one happen sort of more naturally where I come across a book as I'm reading that will fit into one and then I do the other. If not, I will go and pick something. If I haven't finished it by like December, then I'll go pick something. Not so secret prompts. This one has been kind of fun. I did actually have a read outside one that I did, but it wasn't really a book. So I'm not sure. It was like a short story. So I don't know if I can fit that one there or if I need to pick something else. So didn't fill this one in yet. But all the other ones are ones that I either already had on my list of having read in July or plan on reading in July, or they're books that are coming up for other reasons. So The Last Crusade, I have this one on my TBR. I have not read it in July yet, but it's already on my holds list, so it'll be coming up and it fits well there. Map of the Other Lands, I just finished Emily Wilde 1, so I figure I'll read Emily Wilde 2, and that has a first and last name right there. I'll get around to it. Body keeps a score. I read part of it, but I never finished it. I started it on an airplane, actually. Um, so I need to go back and finish it. So it is on my list to fit that category. Score to Kettle and English After Doom Tea are both in the same series. Score to Kettle is number 2, and English After Doom Tea is number 3. So they just happened to fit in because I was finishing up a book series, or the first few of the books. They were like in a compendium that I had checked out, and I'd read the first one a while ago, like over 6 months ago, maybe even longer than that. It was checked out on Kindle Unlimited, not checked out from the library. And so I was like, you know what, I want to return this to Kindle Unlimited. Let me finish up the rest of the books that are in this compendium and look and see if they can fit anywhere. And so for duplicate titles, Score to Kettle, definitely, I looked it up. There were at least 2 books with this title. So there, I'll take care of that one. And then for movement, she is like magically juggling cups on the cover for English After Doom Tea. So finish that one. Doom Scroll, Hot for Hostage. It was cute. I did read it in July. It's been on my checked out from Kindle Unlimited for a while. So I wanted to get that one finished and returned. So yeah, knocked that one out already. Ilona Andrews is most recent acquisition. I did not purchase this one. It was most recent acquisition from a library at the time I started scheduling all of this stuff or planning it. So therefore that one had to go on there. And then Clockwork Angel, last name is a first name. It was done by Cassandra Clare. Clare is a first name, so therefore it fit. So I still have 4 to figure out. Read Outside, Hobbycraft, Childhood Myths, and Joseph's Coat. I'm hoping Joseph's Coat will come up naturally, as will Read Outside and Hobbycraft, because I can do a hobby or craft while doing that one. Childhood Myths, though, I think I'm going to have to actually go and find something. But maybe something that's on my Studio Ghibli list will fit there. All right, cover style. These are, so far, these 3 are ones that I plan on reading or have read already in July. Scream and Sugar, I already read. I think that's book 2, and the other one was 3 and 4. Yeah, sorry about that. This was 2, then the other 2 were 3 and 4, I believe. Anyway, and then How to Fake Date a Vampire had foliage or floral option, and then Landscape for As for Andrea. As for Andrea and How to Fake Date a Vampire are both ones I have checked out, so I do need to finish them in July, so hopefully that'll be knocked out. And I chose the cover styles based on the Excel spreadsheet and the drop down, so I still need to find one more that will work for that, the drop down list. I haven't found one yet, but hopefully something will come up naturally and I won't have to go and search for something. I'll sort of keep an eye out for something that is not fitting anywhere else, is my goal for that. Titular counting, these are ones I have or will be reading in July already, because this is one I plan on doing nothing about until I get to like midway through the year. It'll just be, if they don't fit anywhere else, can I fit it here? And so far you'll see there are 4 that fit here. I already mentioned I'd read Tragic Bonds already. Shift I read while my husband was driving us back from Maine this last weekend, and then the other 2 just happened to come up. Susan Break the Curse, I already talked about this. Midlife Magic. This is the most recent one I just finished, which is book 3. Anyway, these all fit. I don't plan on doing anything else here until about midway through the year, unless I have like 1 left maybe, or 2 left, and I can quickly find those and knock it out and be done with that section. Then I may jump in and do it, but I don't plan on spending a lot of time on this one since it's pretty simple to do. That's just title words. Characters to authors. This one I'm going to have to sit down and actually work through, just like the next couple, I believe, as well. The Shiratori, I haven't done any work on either characters to authors or Shiratori. But I do need to work on it, so maybe that's something I do in August. HRCYED mashup. So I have picked, I think, the 2 that I'm going to do, because I think they work well together, but I haven't spent the time actually figuring out what that's going to look like yet. So I have the bones of a plan for this one, and I do plan on doing some work on it, because I think this one's going to be one that I need to partially plan, where it's like, here are the main sections and here are the potential options maybe, because I'm using the spreadsheet to do some of the planning, but I haven't had time to do it. I just picked that last night. So slowly working through things. All right, for this one and the next slide, so for numerical and for Rainbow of Words, both of these I plan on just sort of, as they come about, things that fit in, but I did go and look at my TBR and pull things out that tentatively could fit in here as I was sort of just scrolling. Ones from the library that I'd marked as potential interest, or things that had fit other challenges I plan on working on throughout the year, etc., etc. So you can kind of see the only ones I definitely think I'm going to be reading for sure are 8, 9, and 11 plus, because those fit into challenges, and unless I change what I do for those challenges, which I guess is possible, then I'd already read them so they would fit. The other ones are ones that fit into my, for my TBR that just happen to be there. So we'll see if I get to those ones or I pick another one. I'm less tied to those. Rainbow, I think the only one I am definitely tied to doing is the White Witch Black Curse, because I've been meaning to read that one for a while. and I would like to read The Pink Tax as well. I had not actually heard of that one until looking for words that had the word pink in it. And then I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. That seems like, a couple of the other books I read last year. So let me dive into that one. So I did put that on my list there. So everything else we'll see. If I do read one of the Nora Roberts books, I will read all of those of that series. I remember the series and decided to pop them all in here because they fit well with this, but at the same time, I'm not tied to definitely doing them. I read them in college, and so technically, it's more than 10 years, so I can reread them. But if I find other ones that are better that I've not read before, that would make I would rather do that. But if I don't, I have three options right there. Gold, I don't know if I'll get to or not, just because I haven't. This is not the second one in the series, or the next one in the series, not the second one in the series. I would have to read, I think, two more before I get to that one. So we will see. But I did say that I liked that series, and I do plan on working through that series. I just don't know how much time I'm going to have, if it's going to fit into the plan, etc., before this is all due, because I have so many books at any given time that I want to read. I just need my job to be reading books. That would be fabulous. And I could just literally read books all day, every day. It'd be great. Okay, animal families. This one, there's so many options here. So I'll tell you what I've got going on for sure. Kiss of the Basilisk and Ty, they're ones that are on my TBR, but I don't remember adding them to my TBR. So I'd have to go back and read. I like that Tithe says a modern fairy tale at the top because I really typically like retellings on fairy tales. So that would be interesting. And if I decide to do a different one, it could potentially fit into the retelling, the whatever it is. That one, I can put that in there potentially, even if I decide to go with a different route for animal family. So it's got an option. I could fit it definitely in two places. I guess I should probably also say I plan on doing each book just for one, but I planned on doing that last for time for 2.0 and decided no, I'm going to do it two whenever I can, so I can get it done quicker so I can start 1.0. But I think for now my plan is to do one per, and then I may decide to do two when it works in the future, but for now that's where we're at. Canine and feline showed up on my scrolling my doom scroll list and ended up getting added to my Kindle Unlimited reading list, which I've recently had to adjust how I do my Kindle Unlimited reading list because it got too big. And as I have time, I'm going through my ginormous monster list and reading them all to see if I still am interested in any of them and etc. So they're one of the first ones that got added to my new way of organizing books that come up while doom scrolling. And so I plan on reading both of them. Playing with Fire showed up when I was looking for a book with a horse on the cover for a different challenge. And so we will see. I'm not stuck with this one. I don't know much about it. I've never read any books by R.J. Blaine. Let me know what your thoughts are if you've read it, if you've read any more by this author, because I don't know anything about them. And that would be Equidae, but I didn't see that one on the drop down list on the spreadsheet. So I'm like, can I still pick it even though it's not? I think I can. I'm pretty sure I can. So I'm going to go with that one. And then for Assassin's Apprentice, which has been on my list for a while, there's a deer in the background, which fixed for Cervidae. So again, isn't on the drop down, but I feel like I should be able to choose it. So we will see how that goes. If it ends up being a problem to where I can't submit it when it comes time to submit, then I'll pick something else for these two. But for now, those are on there. Also, if you have other options for me for any of these other than K-Line and Feline, because I already got these from Kindle Unlimited, planning on reading them. So those ones will be checked off pretty soon. But the other four, let me know if you have other options that you think would be better suited. Biomes, I already mentioned this one. I need to sit down and actually work on this one. Maybe this one will come up naturally But I want to spend some time thinking about it before I for sure go with, yeah, we'll see what happens naturally on it. Remix. That's what I was talking about. It could fit here. So for this one, I'm not stuck here with these ones being there, but I read Tasting Red last year and decided I wanted to finish that series at some point, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that because there are 4 other books for Goldilocks and Three Bears, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and Sleeping Beauty, retellings in that series to go. So that fits 4 of the 5. And then I went and looked up Marissa Mayer because I know that she wrote the Lunar Chronicle series, which I really enjoyed. And those were retellings. And I said, okay, what other books does she have that are retellings? And Gilded is supposedly a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. So that would fit. And I do want to finish all of Marissa Mayer's books at some point. I know I've only read so far her Lunar Chronicles, but I very much enjoyed them, and they are on my list of books that I want to buy for my shelf at some point. So I plan on reading the rest of them. So that'll get me started on the next series with her. Food Pyramid. I didn't really do a whole lot on this one just because I was like, there are so many options, and I feel like this is going to come up, or at least a couple of these are going to come up more naturally. But I did put a fruit and a sweet on there. These are ones that were already on my TBR. I am most likely will read Gingerbread Bakery just because I've finished most of that series. But I don't know if I'll do Twilight because I did read it in high school. And I know that is long, or maybe it's high college that I read it. Probably college. Wouldn't have been high school. Probably college. But it's been a decade. And she said anything that you're rereading that's been over a decade would count. But again, like I said before, on the other ones I read in college, if I find something that fits better and that I've never read at all, I'd rather use that. So I started working through this one based on stuff I have on my TBR and decided to put it aside for now, see what came up naturally, and come back to it. Also, if other people are reading things and saying this one is phenomenal and it fits great here, then I would like to potentially read those books, and this is a perfect opportunity to fit them in. Mother Nature, another one where I'm going to wait and see on it. I know that there are quite a few books out there that are on my TBR that would fit for Mother Nature on cover. But I also know that this is one that comes up, or at least lightning and rain and things along those lines come up pretty frequently on books throughout the year. Snow probably comes up pretty well. Um, I may need to spend some more time on this one after we get to the December time frame where I'm halfway through and sort of look and see. But I want to wait until we're partway through, see what everybody else is reading, see what kinds of things people are coming up with, and also just see if anything comes along naturally. But I think I'm going to want some assistance on this one of what are amazing books that fit with Mother Nature, because I would love some epic books. And I don't think I have many. I think I have 1 or 2 that will fit here that I plan on reading this year that would fit here naturally. But other than that, I don't think I have anything that is like epic Mother Nature books or weather related book covers. It's your birthday. This is one I need to spend time doing. Birth month publication. I can probably find something. Birthstone. I can probably something. I'm an April birthday, by the way. I know I'm an Aries. I know I'm a dragon. I could probably find dragon pretty easily. There's a lot of dragon romances out there. Zodiac. I had a really hard time finding a book with an Aries mentioned in the book. So I may need to go with something that's like a ram, but again, that's also something I've not really seen a lot of. So fellow Aries, let me know what you're doing for Zodiac, because I had a hard time finding for another challenge I did earlier this year where I needed a mention of your Zodiac within the book. And it took me a while to find one. And it came up just naturally. I wasn't able to find anything unless I Googling it. Now, my name is Heather, and Heather is a kind of flower. So, but I don't know if that is my birth month flower. I think that's what they're saying here. I have to remember actually, which that goes into month name meaning. Is I don't know. Should I just find a book with like a field of heather on it? Would that fit? Or maybe I look at other meanings of Heather. Maybe there are other meanings. I need to probably get a baby book and take a look at it and see. And then flower and tree, I'll need to look and see what it is for that for April, because I have no idea. But yeah, this is one I'm gonna have to spend some time on. Birthstone should be pretty easy. There'll be plenty of things with diamonds, especially with romance books. Um, but the others, I don't know. We will have to see. I have no idea. Backlist. These are ones that could fit on there. I don't know if they necessarily will be what I end up with, but have I already used the Inevitable Ruin? I may have already used the Inevitable Ruin. If I did, I'll pick another one. But these are ones as I was going through saying, okay, well, what authors do I have like showing up as priority on my series checklist? And Ilona Andrews was on there as one of my priority ones. She had like a couple of different series that I was working my way through at the time, but I went ahead and picked Clean Sweep as an option for that one. And then Carrie Arthur was also on there, and that's why I picked Shadows In, because that finishes up a series that I've been working my way through for the better part of 2 years. Children of the Mind is the last one in the Ender Quartet by Orson Scott Card. I have several different series by Orson Scott Card on my list, so I could pick other ones. And then Matt Dinneman, obviously, is on there for finishing up that series. I may end up switching these ones out, though, and doing at least one of them out and doing a different author, doing 5 different authors, because I feel like that's more sort of in the spirit of the idea here. So I may switch this one out, or at least one of these 2 out. The I must endeavor to acquire these creatures, the Pokemon sort of themed one. This one is one that I feel like, yeah, I need to sit down and work on it, but it should be really easy to fit. I am doing the Pokemanda challenge, and so I'm doing quite a bit, spending quite a bit of time with Pokemon related items, and then my husband very much likes Pokemon Go, and I have that as well. So this one will be pretty simple, especially with how vague some of the requirements are. It's like just pick, books that have to do with each of these types of Pokemon rather than, a specific Pokemon. It's the types. So that's a little bit easier to do. Like pick something with grass and electric and all the different ones. So I think this will be pretty easy. I just probably need to spend some time looking at things that come up. And what I may do is this will be the next one that just, hey, I don't have anywhere else to put it. Will it fit one of them? Yep, it'll fit. I'm going to use this one as one of those similar ones, like the color one and the titular number. Anthology, I'm going to need to spend some time on this one. I have not had the time, but I'm going to have to actually spend time looking at it, because most of the anthologies I read don't have this many different authors in them, or I've already read them. The ones that have this many authors for anthologies that I have read or that have interested me in the past. So, I need to spend some time looking at this one at some point. Second Chance, these are ones that are currently on my list. They could switch out though. Things that are soft DNF'd, as in I put them down and never picked them back up, but they aren't listed and officially checked as a DNF on my list yet, because I have every intention of picking them up at some point. I just haven't. So here they are. We may change them out depending on if they fit better elsewhere, or if I decide to actually DNF them partway through the book, obviously. Side quests. This is a new thing. Instead of the secret prompts, now we have side quests with a QW. There are board blessings as well. Oh, as well as prompt spells. Apologies for that. I don't know what happened. As well as prompt spells that we have in there. I have one for every single one of those, so they're all easily for me to look back on. And I have yet to pick what I'm going to be doing for the July one, because the book that I ended up choosing and have actually already read for July, which we'll talk about in July's update, fits both. And that's kind of cool that I have the option to pick either, but I don't know what I want to do. So do I want a prompt spell, or do I want a board blessing, or do I want neither? Or do I want to hold on to it? Do I have to pick it right now? Can I pick it later? Things to happen, or to ponder, I suppose. But I chose Beaches, Bungalows, and Burglaries, which is a murder mystery, but also kind of more. There's a little bit of romance in there. There's a little bit of um, rebuilding your life post everything going crazy going on in there. So there's a lot more, some found family situation, but it is at its heart a mystery. I don't know if I consider it a cozy mystery though, because I do feel like this one was a little bit more intense at times because of the fact that she's still making and finding all of this found family, and she is still getting past a lot of anger about the things that happened, and she's still trying to like fix things that happened in our past. And there's a lot going on. I don't know that I would consider it cozy as I would consider um, some other ones that I've read cozy. Now you can have a cozy murder mystery, but I feel like this one is the series itself is probably mostly cozies, but this one is a little bit less cozy than other cozies that I've read, but it still fits. So anyway, that is all I have for this one. The plan. I apologize that it has been so long, but there are 3 different challenges that are really like a million challenges for this, so I didn't know how else to do this other than to break it apart, and that felt unnecessary potentially. Let me know if it makes more sense to break it up, and I'll repost it as broken up into 3 separate ones. But for now, hopefully this gets us caught up, and we can do our July update, and then be officially moving forwards again where we should be. I will chat with you guys later. Bye.